place to enjoy good company, a cocktail, and of course a cigar. Visit Cigars Lounge on Tuesdays for Top Shelf Tuesday and enjoy 50% off select spirits. Cigars Lounge offers Perdomo, San Cristobal, Rock Patel, and more of the top stogie brands that you know and love. But that's not all. If you mention this ad between noon and 5 p.m., you'll receive 15% off your entire tab just by mentioning the ticket. Check out Cigars Lounge today at 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Tune in every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. for the Malone Radio Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Don't miss the opportunity to learn about the Malone Community Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln and the surrounding area. It's the Malone Radio Show with Executive Director John Goodwin and Sports Director Mike Hunter. Every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Hey, Nebraska football fans, it's defensive lineman Ty Robinson, and I've got a winning play for you with Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Team up with Action and install a new Bradford white water heater in your home. And if we win the conference championship this season, you'll get a full refund. Don't fumble this opportunity. Sack your old water heater this season and score big with Action. Visit actionlincoln.com/Huskers to learn more.
Promotion valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Several irrigation contractors in Lincoln go out of business every year, leaving sprinkler system orphans begging for service. The folks at Judson Irrigation shed a tear for these little fellas. They've been coddling these orphans for more than 40 years. From redesign, repairing, replacing, and restoring, remember the Judson Irrigation Orphanage.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Play ball! Summertime is here, and so is another action-packed baseball season with the Lincoln Salt Dogs. Bring your whole crew to Haymarket Park to experience the magic under the lights and the thrill of the game. Enjoy daily specials like Wiener Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, Fireworks Friday, and Family Fun Day Sunday, plus special events and discounts. Don't miss out on the excitement. Strike three, you're out. Visit saltdogs.com to see this week's promotions and secure your tickets to unleash the fun.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Adam Carricker on The Ticket.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, first and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carricker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carricker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carricker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, Adam Carricker.
Hey, what's up, friends? Welcome back to the Bleav Network, Bleav in the Big Ten show, alongside my buddy Adam Carricker. I am Rhett Lewis, and we are live from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana, host of the Big Ten Media Days and host of our first in-person meeting.
Right?
Hello, friend.
Dude, it's officially nice to
see
meet you, man. This is awesome.
And great to share this moment here with everybody at home. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Adam, this is an event that I love every year because it is kind of the unofficial start to the season, right? Training camps are starting in earnest here, July 31st for most teams. So this is kind of that last breath of air before you really start digging into the season. And it certainly feels like football.
To me, so just for me, I'm a giant child. You got to remember this. It was the official release of the video game, which we have not had in a decade, as we all know. But when that video game came out, my mind started to get away from baseball, softball, which the sport my kids are in right now, to football. But then the Big Ten Media Days, and it's awesome having USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington here as well.
That's the big difference.
A completely different feel. But you're right. We're just a week away from camp opening up for probably 95% of these Big Ten teams.
No doubt. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And so we're going to get to some of our impressions of teams we have heard from, coaches, players we have heard from here over the course of these couple of days. But, kind of big news today in Big Ten land is, the official Big Ten preseason poll has come out. Cleveland.com has done a great job with this over the last few years, kind of becoming that voice for the preseason prognostications in the conference. And so we can talk about that a little bit here and kind of use that to, springboard the conversations that we've had with people here, from, Ryan Day at Ohio State and, the players that he brought with him. And we can do that as we go through some of these teams on the poll here, Adam. So, Ohio State leads the way. And I don't think that is a surprise to anyone, although, kind of, I wouldn't say nipping at their heels, but, the number 2 team in this mix is Oregon. They got 6 first-place votes, but Ohio State, the runaway favorite, with 21 first-place votes in this poll to be the top team in this conference. And there is good reason for that. And we have talked about that on a lot of episodes, right? They are a great program, and they have some phenomenal players, obviously boosted by the transfer portal this year and by retaining some of their best players, not from other schools, but from the NFL draft. So no surprise to you, but I think, the thing that I heard Ryan Day say very clearly was the embracing of the extremely high expectation. He essentially said, we know we got to win them all.
You have to embrace it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you're an athlete and you go into competition, you're like, I think I'm pretty good. I'm not sure. Right. I mean, that's humble. That's great. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
But if you're an athlete and you walk in, I'm the best. I can do this. Like, I'm going to win. It's not arrogant. That's what you have to do. That's how you have to be. And if you're Ohio State, the expectations are here for a reason.
Sure.
Expectations are a privilege, to be honest with you. There are other teams who'd love to have much more expectations, our alma maters included.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so the fact that you have it as a privilege is something you need to embrace. And it's something like the outside expectations should never be as high as the expectations within your own football building. Those should always be the highest expectations.
Yeah.
And then everybody else can feel the way that they feel. I got to ask you a question about camp, though, not to go back too much.
Sure.
Camp. My least favorite time of the year. Like I always said, I could play football for 40 years if they just get rid of two-a-days. Alas, they've gotten rid of two-a-days. Now, I did play for Mike Shanahan in D.C. and Bleav in two-a-days, which I very much appreciate.
That's nice, yeah.
But as you were getting ready for camp every year, and I always became a little unfriendly because I was, for 2 reasons. Number one, I knew what was coming. Number two, I was becoming more and more laser focused. But your attitude going into camp every year, what was your attitude, your demeanor? What were you like those days heading into camp?
So for me, I entered, 3 of the 5 camps that I went to as a walk-on. So there was always this, this kind of nervous anxiousness to have an opportunity to go out there and prove, that I belonged and that I could, crack the 2 deep and that I could be relied upon, if my number was called. And so there was always like an immense amount of like internal pressure that I would put on myself to perform in every period and every day and every, 2-a-day. We were doing 2-a-days, at times. And so that was my approach to it. I looked at it as a massive opportunity, right? And especially as you got later into camp, and guys are starting to drag, and if I had conditioned myself the way that I should have, I should still be rolling, right? And if I can separate at that time, then it was, it was me being able to take advantage of an opportunity. And I didn't always do that. In fact, I think, majority of camps, I pulled my hamstring on the first morning of 2-a-day practice.
That's tough. Shoot.
So that happens sometimes. And I love that's why I love the afternoon practices, because I was always like, loose and, and had all day to kind of get everything loose and fired up. So I was always a fan of afternoon practices more so than the mornings, but I did enjoy camp because I knew it was, because once the season rolled around, if I hadn't used that as a proving ground, I was going to, I'll be on scout team all year.
The one thing I did love about camp was in the evenings. There's always some sort of entertainment. There's a rookie show.
Yeah.
The coach is going to put together some sort of montage or
That's
video.
right.
Or my favorite thing, players go up and imitate coaches after you've been doing camp for about a week or two.
Yeah.
That was like my favorite thing about camp.
No,
Obviously, there was a lot of physical things, but that was my favorite thing mentally about camp. I don't mean to completely hijack what we're talking about. But you said that, and I'm like, man, I got all these memories of camp coming back.
Yeah. No, and I'm glad you did. And I'd kind of be curious to ask some of these players here, the ones that haven't been up to the podium yet, like, how do you view camp?
Yep,
right.
Exactly.
In today's camp.
What's your attitude right now?
Now you're at like, you've got however many 3 unpadded practices before you can put the pads on. And then after every padded practice, you got to have a regen day. You got to take an off day. You got to go back down. Like there's so many restrictions on the amount of time and the ways in which teams and coaches can work out. I'd love to kind of get a feel for how, I don't think players look at camp as like that big of a grind anymore.
Probably not.
Now, maybe if it's all they've ever known, then maybe they still do.
They view it differently.
Yeah, they view it.
I used to view 1 week of 2-a-days in high school football as like, oh my God, that's never ending. Then you go to the NFL and it's like 5 or 6 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's all relative. It's all in perspective. So
Okay.
I just thought that might be interesting for folks.
And for Ohio State, I mean, I imagine camp is sometimes camp practices are going to be more competitive than some of the non-conference opponents that they have.
Oh, for sure.
Think about that, like with the talent that they have. So, and imagine that they're not alone. Imagine Oregon, who checks in here at number 2 and will hit the podiums on Thursday here at Big Ten Media Day with head coach Dan Lanning and new quarterback Dylan Gabriel. And I'm really, intrigued to kind of hear from them in this setting, one of the things that I thought was interesting, Adam, as we talk about these teams like Oregon that are coming into the conference for the first time, is a lot of people want to make a big deal of a stylistic difference, right, between the new Big Ten teams and the traditional teams. And coming from Nebraska, you have an affinity for a physicality that is known there in Lincoln, and same way throughout the Big Ten. I asked Greg Schiano about it, head coach at Rutgers, who, by the way, is picked 9th in this poll, which is pretty dang good. Right in the middle of the pack. Like, that's a for sure bowl team if you look at that. But he's like, yeah, I'm not really buying into all that much. That oh my God, USC is going to have to install the power eye to compete here in the Big Ten. I just don't think that that's the case. Now, I do think that personnel wise, they may have to. And they're always trying to improve offensive, defensive lines. But I think that's kind of where you may see the biggest difference is they're going to need, to get some of those big bodies and that sort of thing. But I don't think you're going to see this change in the way that, Jed Fish wants to attack defenses just because he's in the Big Ten, or Dan Lanning and and Lincoln Riley and that group. So they're going to do what they have to do to win.
For sure.
No matter where they are. Right. So I don't know if I'm buying into that piece of the transition yet.
I got a couple of thoughts. Number one, and I've mentioned this, I think Oregon comes in looking like a Big Ten team. You look at their offensive line, you look at their defensive line, they've got depth in the trenches. And again, to revisit the past a little, I always thought Oregon of yesteryear was too fast because they were too small. They'd go play like an Ohio State or an Auburn or somebody in big time bowl games, and they have speed and size, and Oregon would get pushed around. They couldn't hang with them. Nah, that's not Oregon of today. That's not Dan Lanning's Oregon. They've got talent, they've got speed, they've got size up front, and they've got depth, and they look like a Big Ten team walking in the door. But here's a couple other things. Back when it was Big Ten champ, Pac-10 champ every year in the Rose Bowl, okay, the Pac-10 won more often than the Big Ten did, and it was fairly lopsided, especially for a while in the Pac-10's favor. Now that's because it's in LA, that's because it's warmer weather, that favors the Pac-10. I buy into all that. There's something still to be said, like Bobby Bowden said years ago, speed. Either you have it or you're chasing it.
Right.
So if I'm a former Pac-12 team, Washington, Oregon, USC, UCLA, coming to the Big Ten, I know I've got to be more physical, but I don't really have to do a lot in December right now, not just yet. Okay, I think that's going to change as we keep expanding the college football playoff, and you may have to play northern teams in December or January, like the NFL playoffs. Okay, so December, January aren't that bad just yet, just November. And I will say this: when I played for the Rams in St. Louis, isn't known for being uber cold like Wisconsin, Iowa, Nebraska.
It can get down there, but yeah, not like that.
It would probably average like 30, maybe 25, okay, in January or December. And we'd go play the Niners, inevitably every year, December or January, because they were our division rival. It'd just be like 75 degrees, nothing crazy. But that, you're only out there a day or two before. That change in the weather, even though it wasn't like 90 or 100 degrees, I was surprised how much more tired I would get and how much quicker it would happen just because I wasn't used to it. And I almost wonder how some of these Big Ten teams might be affected if they have to
Rutgers
make
maybe going
a similar
west.
trip, like Wisconsin to the Coliseum or something like that. So I think it can go both ways. It's going to be more of an effect on the West Coast teams going east. I do believe that. But I think it goes both ways a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not as worried about travel. Like the way that teams travel nowadays is so first class with most of these schools that like they're going to be fine. Their recovery stuff that in science and facilities that they have are going to be so much better than when you and I were playing. So like they're going to find a way to figure that out. Now, look, is it going to be hard for Rutgers when they go to USC and they're playing an 8 p.m. East or 8 p.m. Pacific time game, 11 p.m. Eastern, and they don't get back till Sunday at noon Eastern time from a Saturday night game? Yeah, that might be a little tough. They're flying through the night and all that. Sure. But like these are 21-year-old kids. They're gonna bounce back pretty quick.
I wonder
Coaches
about
might be hard on
a team like Washington if they play in Piscataway versus Rutgers, and it's like, and they'd be doing them dirty if they did this. But it's like 11 a.m. So all of a sudden it's like 8 a.m. Pacific time, and then you have to get up, uber early to get ready for an 11 a.m. game. Like it's 6 a.m. Eastern, which is like 3 a.m. Pacific. I don't know if they would actually do that to those teams. It'd be a little bit dirty, but there's interesting little things I'm just going to keep my eye on.
Yeah.
So unanimously, for most people, it's Ohio State, Oregon at the top. How do you rank them 1 and 2? Who you got? One, who you got 2?
I'm right there. I'm Ohio State and Oregon. And I'm Penn State at number 3, just like this poll is. The place where I would probably differ is Michigan at 4. Now, certainly, a modicum of respect for what they accomplished last year as national champions, and the fact that they've got some incredible defensive players returning. Brandon Graham, Kenneth Grant, Will Johnson. They've got some terrific players there at all 3 levels. And, they brought in Wink Martindale to run that defense. Guy's got some NFL aggressiveness to him with the way that he likes to call games. So like they're going to get after people. I'm still, jury out for me on quarterback and where that ends up going. Jack Tuttle, Alex Orji, or does it matter at all? Because Donovan Edwards is still there. There's still a commitment from Sharon Moore and from the entire offensive brain trust to understand ground and pound is how we won a national title.
There's a lot of truth to that. Yeah. It may not matter, and I'm just going to go to the bottom of the list. No disrespect to any of these teams. I did not put this list together, but it may not matter versus Purdue, Indiana, teams like that, just because they're that much better. But when you start talking about trying to compete with Penn State, I don't know what to make of USC. They're going to be so fun to watch this year, but like Wisconsin's always good, Oregon, Ohio State. If you're trying to compete and win those games, that quarterback position matters a lot, especially when you're playing teams. Yeah. And you talked about how impressive Will Howard looked and the absolute weapons he has around him, and Dylan Gabriel up at Oregon. If you're trying to compete with those teams, which obviously Michigan is, I do think it matters. I find it interesting. It's been a while since Penn State beat Michigan, but Penn State's ahead of Michigan on this list. And they're like supposed to be out of 18 teams, and we're the top 2 conferences in the country, the 3rd best team so far. They're hardly being talked about at all. And I think if they can beat a Michigan and pull off an upset, maybe versus an Oregon, Ohio State, which they've got an uber talented quarterback, Mr. Football in the state of Ohio. They got Julian Fleming, the number 1 overall wide receiver recruit coming out of high school the year he came out. They got the 2 solid running backs that have been there since they were freshmen. I don't know how they're going to block up front, but their defense is going to be really, really good. I'm almost amazed, and I know why, because they have to beat a Michigan. They have to beat an Ohio State. Penn State does, but I'm almost amazed how they've just kind of flown under the radar here.
Yeah, I would say here there's been in here. And
I don't mean here. I just mean in general.
Yeah, and I will say here now. James Franklin took the podium and was up there with the Big Ten Network crew, and like listening to him talk as an 11-year vet of this league, like he has got a comfortability in his own skin with where they are, and I think he was at ease maybe even more so than I've seen in the last couple of years with his new coordinator hires. Andy Kotelnicki, the new offensive coordinator, comes in, from Kansas, where he led a big time explosive attack there for the Jayhawks the last couple of years. And then Tom Allen comes in with some real, chops on the defensive side of the ball, despite the struggles, as a head coach in Indiana the last couple of years. The defense had been good at times, and he has a proven track record of being really good. So I think that stuff has kind of put James Franklin at ease, and he knows how talented his team is.
They're very talented.
Like, they've got some incredible players there. You named a bunch of them, Katron Allen, Nick Singleton, that group in the running back room. They've got a good offensive line coming back. I think it'll be one of the better units in this conference. And then defensively, studs all over the place. I mean, and we'll get into it here in a little bit when we talk more in depth on Penn State later, in the next couple of weeks. But Dennis Sutton, to me, could be a defensive player of the year candidate in this conference, one of their edge rushers. So I think Penn State, if you ask people here, I think you would find they are a consensus number 3 team in this conference.
Hey, Nebraska football fans, it's defensive lineman Ty Robinson, and I've got a winning play for you with Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Team up with Action and install a new Bradford white water heater in your home. And if we win the conference championship this season, you'll get a full refund. Don't fumble this opportunity. Sack your old water heater this season and score big with Action. Visit actionlincoln.com/Huskers to learn more.
Promotion valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
You already know that Select Plumbing takes care of all your plumbing needs, including water heaters, faucet repairs, leaks, drips, sump pumps, and more. Now, they're able to help you with your heating and air conditioning as well. Select Plumbing has recently expanded into residential heating and air, and they're excited to bring this new service to their complete list of plumbing services. Call to book an appointment today at 402-560-6197 or go to selectplumbinginc.com, serving Lincoln, Seward, Milford, and the surrounding areas.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Highball Bar in downtown Lincoln is open and located just north of 11th and O Street. Highball Bar offers a vibe and atmosphere like no other, making it the perfect place to grab a drink or beverage. Highball Bar features great events such as Karaoke Sunday, $4 Tito's on Mondays, Jack Daniel's specials on Wednesdays, and much more. Make Highball Bar your go-to spot after a hard day at work or on the weekend. Highball Bar, located at 122 North 11th Street in downtown Lincoln.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Get ready, Husker fans. The Big Red Preview is coming soon. Join us Saturday night, August 3rd, for an exclusive look at your Nebraska football team in action. Experience the excitement, the energy, the sights and sounds of a game day as the 2024 football season kicks off. Visit Huskers.com/tickets and bring your family, friends, and all your Big Red pride to Memorial Stadium Saturday night, August 3rd. That's Huskers.com/tickets. Brought to you by Husker Athletics and 1890 Nebraska. Winning tradition, future success.
Stevens & Smith Construction is a full-service, employee-owned concrete company that specializes in residential and commercial foundations and flat work. They've been a leader in the concrete industry since 1971, with nearly 250 employees combining for more than 2,000 years of service. With locations in Lincoln, Omaha, and Kansas City, they're united in quality, integrity, and professionalism to create excellence in construction. Learn more today at stevensandsmith.com.
Does it seem like your clothes dryer doesn't dry like it used to? It may not be your dryer. It may be your dryer vent. When the vent becomes obstructed, it drastically reduces the efficiency of your dryer. Even worse, it can be a fire hazard. Here's the simple solution. Call Bryant. Bryant will thoroughly clean the vent and show you the before and after results. Call 467-1111. Keep your dryer operating efficiently and your home safe. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Join us on Monday, July 29th at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O to celebrate the company's 40th anniversary. Enjoy 40% off wings all day and your favorite sports talk hosts on air from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Come hang with us for the 40th anniversary party on Monday, July 29th at the 68th and O Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Tune in every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. for the Malone Radio Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Don't miss the opportunity to learn about the Malone Community Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln and the surrounding area. It's the Malone Radio Show with Executive Director John Goodwin and Sports Director Mike Hunter every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Midwest Bank is proud to be your local community bank right here in Lincoln. This is Abby with Midwest Bank. Stop by our new location at 70th and Pioneers. Our new full-service branch does it all. From our friendly staff to our easy online banking and mobile app, you get all the technology of a big bank that you need, but you still get the hometown customer service that you want. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Learn more at midwest.bank. Member FDIC.
Your child was embarrassed when you arrived at their basketball game. 75% of parents or guardians report current alcohol use. Drinking alcohol can cause harm to children and loved ones. By drinking less, your child will be excited to see you at their basketball game. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
You're listening to Adam Carricker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, three of the top 5 defenses in the entire country last year. A lot of statistical categories, they were 1, 2, 3 in the country. Okay, if you break it down into individual stats on defense, they all return a lot of their starters. It's going to be hard to score on any 3 of those teams. For me, it comes down to, can the wide receivers create separation for Drew Aller, and how does he play this year? If that can happen, they can play with anybody. They got the talent.
So to me, as you're looking at this poll, we've talked about, Ohio State 1, Oregon 2.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is the elite tier in this conference. And then like the next tier, you can call it whatever you want, doesn't matter. But the next tier, right? The B tier, the number 2 tier
2
is Penn State and Penn State only.
You don't think Michigan's there?
I don't think that they're on that level at this point. And they've got to prove it.
Yeah.
They've got to prove it this year more than they have in the last couple of years. And I don't told that to Sharon Moore. I think he'd be like, yeah, hell yeah, we got to prove it. I mean, that's what we do. Every year we have to go out there and prove it. But I think that this poll, if it had Iowa at 4, if it had USC at 4, if it had Wisconsin at 4, I'd have been like, oh, okay. Yeah, I think those 4 teams feel like, that they are, they're kind of interchangeable at this point to me.
I won't argue or disagree with you, because I actually think too many people are overlooking what Michigan has lost. Not that Michigan can't have another great year, but I think a lot of people
the
are
next guys are probably ready, but yeah.
I asked you that, it's just Penn State, not Penn State and Michigan, the way I did, because I was surprised. I don't think most people look at it that way. I was like, I felt like I was kind of the only one. So you're tier 3.
Yeah.
Okay. As I look at this, would it include, in no particular order, Michigan, Iowa, USC, Wisconsin,
Yeah, that's where it ends.
Should one team not be in there? No additional teams?
I think that's, to me,
Literally those four?
that's my tier 3: Michigan, Iowa, USC, Wisconsin. Yeah.
So that for our fine folks at home,
Yeah.
and they'll probably put a graphic.
Well, you know
up,
what?
but there is that.
Yeah, that's the poll.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, I suppose like
4 is Michigan, 5 is Iowa, 6 USC,
Yeah.
7 is Wisconsin. For me, with Wisconsin,
yeah,
they're trying to go to the spread offense. Can they actually
try
do
it.
it? How
Right.
are they, and they only tried it for 1 year. So how successful are they? They're always going to run the ball. They're always going to play good defense. They're always going to be disciplined. They got a good head coach going into his 2nd year, so they should be better than a year ago. They were awfully banged up a year ago too, especially
they were
in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
So
top receiver, top running back,
yeah.
and number 1 quarterback,
Quarterback
were all
was banged up,
down
for
for
sure.
the last couple of weeks.
So how much can they actually throw the ball, be more diverse on offense? Do they have to rely heavy on the run game, which has worked for like 35 years for them? Not to knock it. USC defensively, and I know what you saw in the spring game. I got to see it in action.
Yeah. Oh,
Can they tackle?
I understand that.
Do they want to play defense? Do they care? And then Iowa's the complete opposite question. Okay, are they going to be able to score points? Because they play defense, they play special teams, they are disciplined. They're not going to beat themselves. They're going to win the turnover battle 9 times out of 10. Can they score points? Again, I want to see those two teams play each other, Iowa and USC. They don't this year. Michigan, I think a lot of it revolves obviously around new guys, new faces, new coaches with the quarterback. To me, a lot of it's going to revolve around the quarterback.
Yeah, and there's two ways to look at that, right? You've got a explosive athlete in Alex Orji. We're talking about Michigan, right?
Yeah,
good quarterback.
yes.
Yeah, Alex Orji, who is just a physical specimen.
He is.
Oh
He
my
is.
gosh! Like, I mean, it's just such an impressive frame to him, and we haven't seen him throw the ball really at all in the limited game action that he has had. Now, Jack Tuttle, who is back for a 2nd season at Michigan and had been, originally at Utah, transferred to Indiana, started some games at Indiana, got hurt a couple of times. He actually, was dealing with an elbow injury through much of, this offseason for Michigan. So hadn't had a ton of time there. But I think that they could end up looking to a veteran presence and a guy like Tuttle who's seen everything, who, maybe has a little bit more of a situational awareness because of experience at this point, to not hurt them and use what they have relied on the last 3 years in a physical offense and a run game with Donovan Edwards and company and Colston Loveland and Max Bredesen and like that whole and so like Tuttle might serve that purpose well. Might not, might be in a better position to not lose them a game based off a mistake or a turnover.
I'm smirking because I'm just waiting to ask you a particular question.
Go for it.
Week 2, Texas. Who's their starting quarterback? Michigan. That's the question. I'm like,
well, I think it's whoever starts week 1 is going to end up starting week 2. So,
well, yeah, but who do you think that is?
I mean, without seeing fall camp, it's tough to say that. But I think at this point, I would lean towards the veteran experience in Jack.
Right out the gate, that makes sense.
I think that's what I would do. And then, if you start to see some flashes, and because surely they're going to, even if Jack starts, they're going to find a way to get Alex Orji on the field.
You have to.
And if he starts flashing more consistently, then maybe there's a conversation to be had.
Use him situationally at least, just to see what he can do. Just like what Florida, and I don't want to compare him to Tim Tebow, but just like what Florida did with Tebow when they had Chris Lee. They found a way to use Tebow's skill sets, which, by the way, aren't all that different.
Now they got to, that's true, but they got to make sure that does not stunt, Jack's ability to run the offense. That does not take away, that it's harder on Alex to come in there, 3 plays at a time, to get in the flow of a game. Like they got to make sure
it's got to make sense.
Yeah, it's got to make sense. So
I think there's a way that can be done, though.
That's
the way Florida did it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And obviously they won a couple national titles, so that's an easy thing for me to point out. But I think Michigan, who just won a national title, can do something similar.
Yeah.
If Orji isn't the day 1 starter.
Yeah. So getting back to Wisconsin, which is in that group for me, that next 4 group for me, you're like, can they find a way to make the spread offense thing work? The thing that I would again bring up on that front is Tyler Van Dyke comes over to run that offense from Miami, where he has had one of these types of careers, right? It's been a roller coaster ride. And I really like him. I've got a chance to meet him and talk to him. And he was he was a good dude to be around down at that Manning camp that I was telling you about. He was one of those guys that was down there. And the thing that he kept saying to me is, he had his best year with Rhett Lashley as his offensive coordinator. And that is a spread it out air raid type offense. And, he kind of got yo-yoed back and forth between a couple of different offenses while he was down there at Miami and different offensive coordinators.
That's tough.
But now rejoining a schematic comfortability up there with Phil Longo
that will help,
might really rekindle some of that talent that got people so excited down in South Florida about Tyler Van Dyke, which I think is why people were ultimately so disappointed because he couldn't live up to that bar. So I think that they might, it's going to be more like fitting puzzle pieces in rather than, square peg round hole like it was last year.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at there on that tier. And I think you're right on Iowa, USC, they're stylistically different in how they win games. But I think USC, to me, I think USC is going to be better on defense than Iowa's going to be. They're going to be more improved on defense than Iowa's going to be more improved offensively.
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
So kind of going back to Van Dyke, like he's got the ability, he's got the talent.
Yeah.
It's about consistency.
Okay.
As you know, got to be consistent, got to take care of the ball. I think most coaches would rather have a quarterback who's moving the chains 10 yards at a time rather than 30-40 bam interception or 30-40 and 5 incompletions in a row or something like that. So it's about consistency. I do wonder, this is still Wisconsin.
Yep.
Will there be a little bit of an identity crisis because they want to throw the ball a ton, but they've been Wisconsin for 35 years now? I wonder if at some point there is a little bit of an identity crisis, what they want to do.
There was last year.
Who they've been and what actually is going to work. So I wonder about that.
Yeah. I guess I do as well. And then like you get that next tier is probably to me Nebraska, Rutgers. I'd probably put Washington.
I was going to say, are you going to?
I think Washington could push.
I was wondering.
Washington could push for that third tier if their depth pieces show up the way that Jed Fish needs them to show up. I don't think I'd have anybody else in that tier at this point. I think the next group is kind of like, we'll get to the next group, but to me, it's Nebraska, Rutgers, Washington is kind of that next group.
So for the fine folks at home, all right, just to update you on where we're at on the list: 1 Ohio State, 2 Oregon, 3 Penn State, 4 Michigan, 5 Iowa, 6 USC, 7 Wisconsin, 8 Nebraska, 9 Rutgers, 10 Washington. Okay, and the tiers that Rhett has is tier 1 Ohio State, Oregon, tier 2 Penn State, tier 3 Michigan, Iowa, USC, Wisconsin. Okay, and you would or would not put Washington in that tier 3?
Not in 3. I'd have them in 4 at this point.
I agree with that. And tier 4 is Nebraska, Rutgers, Washington. I will say this. It's interesting because people are going to have much higher expectations, and probably justifiably so, for Washington than Rutgers. But here's what's interesting. Rutgers lost more starters than any other Power 5 team in the country. Washington did. 20 out of 22.
Washington
lost their coach. They lost their AD. They lost a bunch of stuff, okay? While Rutgers retains over 70% of their production from a year ago. Also, there's probably not another team in the country that's more happy to get rid of divisions than Rutgers. Every year, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State.
Indiana's pretty happy about that too.
Guess who's not on their schedule this year?
Michigan,
Ohio State, Penn State.
Yeah, they got very lucky.
I actually pulled up their schedule. Their toughest games, are Washington, Nebraska, Wisconsin, UCLA, USC, and by all means,
that's a very favorable Rutgers schedule. That is.
I mean, are you kidding me?
People are talking about Rutgers has an opportunity to, like, you look at their schedule, they have an opportunity to be 7-0, to start the season 7-0.
Yeah, that's how Nebraska fans feel, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, and so they were a bowl team last year. They are making moves. They brought in a quarterback that they're very familiar with, and an offensive coordinator that was very familiar with him. So Kirk Shiraka and Ethan Kaliakmanis come over from Minnesota, right? And I mean, Kirk had been there, before, and so I think there's a comfortability there with the way that they're going to play quarterback. And I think if they'd have gotten a little bit better quarterback play at times last year, they might even have won a couple more games. Like, people might forget, Rutgers and Ohio State are locked in a battle. Okay.
I remember that.
And then Gavin Winston ends up throwing a pick six. It changes the whole landscape of the game. He didn't throw the ball that much that game. So, to have one of those attempts, be a game-changing play negatively is tough to stomach. And I think they think that Ethan Kaliakmanis, who, by the way, won that job so convincingly that Greg Schiano called it in spring ball and said, "This is my starting quarterback this year." And then ultimately Winston transferred. So, they feel good about Kaliakmanis. Kyle Monunga is one of the best players in the conference that doesn't get talked about, much at all. So they're going to run the heck out of the ball. I mean, they might, they might prefer to line up a 9-on-7 instead of 11-on-11.
Probably.
You know, the way that Greg
Probably.
Schiano wants this offense to look, and they've got some terrific defensive players. Tyne Powell comes back from a season-ending injury. Aaron Lewis is one of the best defenders in the country. They've got guys all over the map that are really fun to watch defensively. And I think people are going to wake up to Kyle Monangai this year if they hadn't done so already. So that I definitely feel comfortable having Rutgers, they're at 9, right, the middle point of the conference. I think they could work their way up into that tier 3 if things go their way.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
So I have no problem, honestly, with any of your tiers so far.
Yeah.
But you thought about moving Washington up to tier 3.
I think Jed Fish is that good of a coach.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I just don't know that this is the year that they get up into
I
tier
agree.
3. I could be completely
yeah.
wrong. He did just play for a national freaking championship.
Right.
But I'm more likely Rutgers may actually have the wins and losses to be moved up.
Yeah. I think
to
you're probably
a
right.
tier 3
Yeah.
type team,
Yeah.
simply to what they have coming back. Greg Schiano's doing it all over again in Rutgers.
Yeah.
Okay, and they have a very favorable schedule. At the end of the year, who do you think has more wins, Rutgers or Washington? I got Washington's schedule pulled up here for you too. It's not insanely crazy either.
You got Oregon, you got Penn State, obviously you got SC.
Soft non-conference, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean they got Weber, Eastern, and
Washington
Washington
State's
State
a rivalry
would be a tough game. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose that.
I guess there is Michigan there too.
Yeah, so I would say based off scheduling, I wouldn't be shocked if Rutgers won more games than Washington. In fact, I'd feel good about putting my name on that one at this point.
I feel pretty good about that
Yeah.
too. All right, so that's our 1 through 10. Any other
Yeah.
final thoughts before we move on down?
No, I think that about covers it. As you look at the next group of teams, Maryland, Minnesota, Illinois, Northwestern, UCLA, in that order, 11 through 15, and then 16 through 18, Michigan State, Indiana, Purdue. I think UCLA and Michigan State are going to struggle a little bit this year. Now, the thing that I think Michigan State has going for them that could vault them and could protect them in some games, I think Aiden Childs is an incredibly talented quarterback with some athleticism that can really buoy an offense that maybe doesn't have the guys up front that they'd like to have.
He can make up for a lot of things.
So, whereas Chase Garber's, good player, I don't know that he's the same type of player to do that kind of
different
thing.
skill
What I mean? So I think Michigan State, are they going to win 7 games? I don't know. But I think 5 is a good place to start, and maybe they're challenging for bowl berth, late year.
I don't mean to backtrack, but back to Rutgers. You think Kelly McManus? I'm going to be honest with you. I know he convincingly won the job in the spring.
Yeah.
Okay. I was not impressed with how he played at Minnesota.
No, I wasn't either, and I don't think anybody could say they were.
So I'm still waiting to see him do it in an actual game.
Talking to Greg Schiano yesterday, I'd asked him what, was there anything about Kelly McManus that really impressed him that he didn't really anticipate, when they were recruiting him in the portal. And he was like, well, no, it's just like the relationship that I now have with it. Because Kirk obviously knew him very well, Shiraka, from their time together at Minnesota. But the relationship that I've been able to form with him, this is a mature kid. This is a guy that can be the face of a program, that's not afraid to be a leader in this team. Whereas last year, Wimsatt was a younger player. But yeah, so I agree with you that he's got some proving that he's got to do, especially in a pass game. But I think from a leadership standpoint, Rutgers is going to benefit there. Now, as we continue to look at teams kind of in that second half of the, honestly, to me, 11 through 18, I don't know that anything would surprise me, especially with Maryland.
I was going to ask you, do you think there's going to be a big drop off? I know they went on a losing streak, but they had some decent talent last year offensively to do something.
Yeah, they lost quite a bit of it.
That's what I'm asking. Do you think there's going to be a big drop off this year?
I think that they're still going to challenge for bowl eligibility. I don't know that they're going to challenge to win 10 games, but let's see what happens with MJ Morris or Billy Edwards, whoever they end up giving that quarterback job to. If they can, pull off some of that magic that Talia Tungabailoa had the last few years. Locke's is such a great offensive coach. He's a great head coach, but I think he's such a great, feel for offense and what wins in this league and in college football in general, that they'll find a way to manufacture some points. They've still got some good players on defense. Ruben Hippolyte is one of the best players, defensive players in this conference. So I think Maryland, is in that kind of 6 to 8 win range to me.
Probably.
But that's kind of how I feel about Minnesota. It's kind of how I feel about Illinois.
All of them.
Kind of how I feel about Northwestern.
Northwestern's interesting to me. because 1-11.
Yeah.
Then they go, what was it, 8-4, won a bowl, 8-5, won their bowl game last year.
Yeah.
And that was after all hell broke loose with Pat Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
What do you make of them this year? Is there a regression, a progression, status quo?
Again, what happens at quarterback? I mean, we've said that they've had a new starting quarterback each of the last 5 years at Northwestern. David Braun was here, this week, and man, just looking at the difference in him and the comfortability he has now after essentially winning that job, right? He was the interim coach in a very bad situation that really unfolded right before this event last year. And he absolutely, knocked it out the park. I mean, sure, yeah, they didn't win the national title, but I think they exceeded expectation beyond.
What more could they have done? What more could they have done?
Yeah. And like that was not the most talented team in the conference. It won't be the most talented team this year, but I think they've got a great, kind of foundation built now with him. So I have Northwestern in that 6 to 8 win range. 5 to 8 wins, whatever. It depends on how it shakes out.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Tune in every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. for the Malone Radio Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Don't miss the opportunity to learn about the Malone Community Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln and the surrounding area. It's the Malone Radio Show with Executive Director John Goodwin and Sports Director Mike Hunter every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
NEPCO is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mixed Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. NEPCO offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From NEPCO's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Hey, neighbor. Nate, there's a fully inflated hot air balloon in your backyard. I know. Isn't it great? But why? You can't keep it there. The homeowners association will go crazy.
Oh, I'm not going to keep it up there. I'm going to fly it over the Nebraska football game on Saturday to get the best seat in the house.
Nate, you don't have to do that. Just enter the Nebraska Lottery's Lotto America Ticket Snap promotion. Until August 5th, buy a Lotto America ticket with the All-Star bonus and enter the voucher number online for a chance to win Nebraska football Skybox season tickets, an incredible football and volleyball weekend experience, or regular football season tickets.
Well, that is a better way to get a great view.
Yeah, one other question. Why is the balloon in the shape of a giant volleyball? You were going to fly over a football game.
It's the only decent thing the rental place had left. It was either this, a hockey puck, a banana, or a giant poodle. Even I have my standards.
Lotto America top prize odds, 1 in 26 million.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone here again with Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I hear your lot is packed with new and pre-owned cars again. I know everyone would love to hear all about it. Please tell us all about it.
Thanks, Charlie. It's taken some time, but we have more than 150 new Hondas in stock right now with hundreds on the way, including over 30 new Ridgelines in stock right now. But we've been telling everyone now, Charlie, is it's really cool that someone can come in and look at a new Honda and drive away with it that day.
That's great. Like you said, it's taken a while, but now there are hundreds to choose from. How about pre-owned, Andy?
As always, Charlie, we have over 100 to choose from, all makes and models with prices starting at under $10,000.
Well, maybe it's time. You come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Several irrigation contractors in Lincoln go out of business every year, leaving sprinkler system orphans begging for service. The folks at Judson Irrigation shed a tear for these little fellas. They've been coddling these orphans for more than 40 years. From redesign, repairing, replacing, and restoring, remember the Judson Irrigation Orphanage.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
And it's pretty much just lettuce, tomato, mayo, and bacon. I mean,
that's
you don't need to do
DLT.
much more than that.
Bacon, lettuce, tomato. That's the crux.
This is groundbreaking.
That's the
Groundbreaking
crux
stuff
of the
here today
sandwich.
on the BLT.
That's the crux of it.
I never thought of it that way, but yeah, you're right.
But to have it,
What is the BLT
what's the
stand
most
for?
important part is the bacon, the lettuce, and then the tomato.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Power combo BOGO? Huh?
Yes, if you purchase an air conditioner, you receive a furnace completely free. At John Henry's, our professionals want to ensure you are comfortable in your home all year long, no matter what Nebraska has to throw at us. Call today to schedule your free estimate and learn more about the free furnace waiting for you. Give John Henry's a call today.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
The weather is hot, the kids are out of school, and you're on your way to the lake and summer road trips. Are you getting to your vacation spot comfortably, or is your car letting you down? Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride for summer road trips and beyond. Mullen Motors.
No tag-ons, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a busy day? Cigars Lounge at 8th and Q in the Haymarket is the perfect place to enjoy good company, a cocktail, and of course a cigar. Visit Cigars Lounge on Tuesdays for Top Shelf Tuesday and enjoy 50% off select spirits. Cigars Lounge offers Perdomo, San Cristobal, Rock Patel, and more of the top stogie brands that you know and love. But that's not all. If you mention this ad between noon and 5 p.m., you'll receive 15% off your entire tab just by mentioning the ticket. Check out Cigars Lounge today at 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
If it was the Big Ten and the SEC and the Big 12 and the ACC's idea to kick back to grow the game at lower levels, we wouldn't have these conversations. Right. But because the NCAA is asking them to do that, it feels like they're getting their wallet stolen, money taken out of it, and it's not their idea, so they're against it.
Yeah. Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations, now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios at 1040 O Street.
Join us on Monday, July 29th at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O to celebrate the company's 40th anniversary. Enjoy 40% off wings all day and your favorite sports talk hosts on air from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Come hang with us for the 40th anniversary party on Monday, July 29th at the 68th and O Buffalo Wings and Rings.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to Adam Carricker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When you go, from my perspective, when you go to Maryland at 11, as by Cleveland.com here, I think there is going to be a big drop off. Maybe they get to a bowl game 6-6, maybe not. Minnesota, I mean, I think Luke Fickell's a good coach. I think he's hit a bit of a wall. He's got to try to find a way.
Fleck.
What'd I say?
Fickell.
Yeah, sorry, PJ Fleck.
Yeah.
And I think he's hit a bit of a wall. He's got to find a way to get over that. Yeah. And that's easier said than done at Minnesota. 2 teams that actually intrigue me a lot.
Yeah.
And I know there's not going to be a big group of people behind me on this, but are Illinois and Northwestern. What does Northwestern do this year? Like you said, revolves a lot around the quarterback position. Illinois, year one, Brett Bielema, they surprised a lot of people. Last year, they underachieved based on preseason expectations. Year three, I'm kind of curious, can they get back to playing really good defense, which they did in year one, being pretty physical on offense? Okay. Can they get back to that winning formula they had year one or not? What's year three look like? That's what I'm curious to see. Those are two of the more intriguing teams to me in the Big Ten Conference. Just how are they going to do this season in particular?
Yeah. I think you're right on there. And like Illinois has some, continuity to build off. Luke Altmaier returns, and even though he didn't really finish the season as their quarterback due to, I think some injury concerns and other things, like I think that he's got a better idea of what the expectation is there, in Champaign for him and how they've got a running back. I'm telling you, Caden Fagan is going to be an absolute stud. I'm talking about a 6'3", 240-pound true freshman last year running the football for them. And he got hurt at the end of the year. So I think they're going to be another one of those kind of grinded out teams. And I think they're okay with that. I think Brett Bielema is okay with that. So, I think you're on there with Illinois. With my alma mater, Indiana, I think 17 is really low. I think I'd have them. And then look, I know the last 3 years have not been pretty, and so I certainly understand.
Is that your bias coming out that it's really low? Or
well, I've been around the team. Okay. I've seen practices. I've watched the tape. Like I've seen this.
This is basketball, it's football, not basketball now.
Yes, sir. Watch it over here.
Hey, I could finally say a little something about basketball for the first time ever.
You're going to get shoulder checked here in a minute. You probably won't move. But yeah, I'm so impressed with the coaching staff that Coach Signetti, who's going to be here later this week, has put together. His coordinator level is so sharp. Brian Haynes running the defense, who he's been very familiar with, has been with him the last couple of stops, head coaching stops he's been at JMU and before. Mike Shanahan as the offensive coordinator and play caller, and then Tino Sinceri as the passing game coordinator, QB coach. Those three guys give me great confidence in particular. I think their defensive line coach, Pat Kuntz, is familiar with IU, had been there before, played at Notre Dame, is just an absolute stud of a human. He's done a phenomenal job helping them recruit the portal on the defensive front post spring ball, which has been really difficult. They lost some guys kind of unexpectedly, and so they had to go out there and get some big time players. I think you're going to hear CJ West's name. Who came in from Kent, I believe. I always get Kent and Toledo always kind of mixed up, but
one of those
from that side on the defensive front. And there's a lot of familiarity with the players they brought in from James Madison. Now those players have to prove it in the Big Ten. Okay, so there's a lot of that going on. These coaches have to prove it in the Big Ten, but I think they've done a lot that I've been impressed with. And I mean, Sig is just such a sharp dude, and he is all ball, man. I mean, and he's won everywhere he's been. He's not afraid to tell you that. And when you have a formula that you believe works, I'd be pretty damn confident in it too. And I'd have that bravado too. He's been very outward with it, and I kind of appreciate it. So I think that they've got what it takes to absolutely challenge for bowl eligibility this year and beyond.
So the way this list is, I don't know if we've actually said the numbers here. 11 Maryland, 12 Minnesota, 13 Illinois. I do think Luke Altmaier, he struggled with turnovers early on in the year.
Yeah,
if he can take care of the ball better, that would be huge. 14 Northwestern, 15 UCLA, 16 Michigan State, 17 Indiana. So you think 18 is pretty. You think Indiana's too low. My question is, where would you put them? Where would you move them?
I'm saying, like, I don't blame Cleveland.com for putting them at 17.
Where would you put them?
I'd probably have them. Somewhere in that 11 to 14 range just to start the season. But like, honestly, again, this stuff is good fodder to talk about, and it sets the table for us. It sets like a baseline expectation.
No, we live and die by this.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Right. To me, it sets a baseline expectation. And in that regard, as an alum, football alum from Indiana, like, I don't care where you put us to start. And I'd have probably put us a little bit high, to put Indiana a little bit higher. But like, I think that they have the ability, once the season gets rolling, to challenge to be much higher, to be in a tier above where they are here, 2 tiers above where they are here.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a busy day? Cigars Lounge at 8th and Q in the Haymarket is the perfect place to enjoy good company, a